Redditors who caught your significant other red-handed while they were in the act of physically cheating. What was their excuse? / how did it go down? Few years back I lived with a buddy in a large apartment and we always had parties. I was flying back from Florida and wound up getting home when the party was winding down. Everyone was under blankets on the living room floor. Saw my buddy with what was obviously a figure halfway down his sleeping bag doing something to him. He gave me a wide-eyed look and I cracked a smile at him until my girlfriend of 2 years' head popped out from the sleeping bag. I was in shock for a few seconds, and Tyler went to talk. I cut him off and said you can keep her. Drove across town to my mom's that night. Done cried like a bitch too.
I saw my, then, girlfriend on the streets with some guy. They were physically comfortable, holding hands, but touching, etc. After a while I decided to confront her. She tells me he's only her cousin. Turns out he was actually her cousin.
Backstory: I had been with my girlfriend for 7 years and we planned on getting married. I got a job in a city about 2 HRs away from her, though, but she'd moved down with me after a month because she had wanted to finish up a big project at work, or so she said. I planned on going up there to stay with her for a weekend and just romance her up completely in prep for the next weekend when I was going to propose. On Thursday I decided I'd just surprise her by going up there a day early, because things were slow at work and I was too excited to see her. And so I left work, bought flowers and dressed up, and got in the car and was off. Long story short, when I got there I found her hooking up with my best friend. They noticed me right away, and I freaked out and left. 2 days later she called and asked me to talk things out, so I met her at a restaurant. Left the restaurant confused, regretting the past 7 years, angry and single. Resorted to drinking, and, well, shit.
Is that when the cannibalism began?
Yes.
Found him on the floor of her office, physically picked him up and threw him off of her. Asked her if she wanted a divorce, she said yes, and that she loved me but was not in love with me. Sat there in disbelief for 15 minutes before I went home, packed up the kids and went to a hotel. Married to my wife 6 months. I work a lot, own a small business, so I'm gone a lot. But I came home from the office part of my day to grab something I needed for a job I was headed to, heard noise in the bedroom, walked in and there she was, riding another guy. They both looked at me, I looked at them, I grabbed what I needed and left quickly, telling her as I turned around that she better be gone when I got back. I called a friend of mine who waited about 2 hours and then went to my place. She had left, taking essentials with her. The following weekend he stood in for me while she removed the rest of her stuff. One mistake I made is that I didn't cancel the credit cards of mine that she had cards of also. She went out that evening with that guy and ran them all up, about 5k or so. They were not major limit cards. I had only had them to help my credit score earlier, and because I was making good money now, had been on a cash only basis for a long while, which is probably why I forgot. That was basically the end of the finding out. Hiring an attorney for the divorce, who then hired a PI when she replied to my filing with a request for $2,000 in alimony a month, revealed that she had been cheating through the entire marriage and prior 2 guys she had been with but dumped agreed to sign affidavits with the attorney. The PI took a crap load of pictures as well. She didn't get the $2,000 a month once the judge saw all this at the final hearing to finalize the divorce. After we had parted ways but were not divorced yet. This was 6+ years ago, took 6 months and a day in CA, then from start to finish, it's now something like 6 weeks. She went to a club and gangbanged about 10 guys in a back room. After the divorce was final I haven't seen her again. But I know she is in AZ because she's tried to get credit in my name there 3 times. I've told this story many times, but didn't elaborate on the actual catching. So there you go. The attorney all told cost about 12 grand. Or 6 months of alimony. The attorney told me I'd probably have to pay her about 5 years monthly, so I saved quite a bit on that, for sure. It's possible it could have gone longer than that, had the judge ruled for it. Basically his call. Came home early from my second job to spend time with her and our infant son. I noticed an extra pair of shoes in the entryway, so I creeped in and up the stairs. I hit a creaky one and I hear them both jump up and she meets me at the door zipping up a sweater. Her pants still unbuttoned. He is still putting his pants on as I look into the room and start yelling. She pushed at me to go downstairs so we could argue somewhere other than outside our sleeping son's room, and once we are in the living room I started yelling harder than I ever had before. I don't remember what I said, I kinda blanked it, but I'm sure I referenced how we were engaged and he was my best man and them trying to calm me down. I stormed out of the house and walked up the street to where his wife, her maid of honor, was working and calmly asked her to come outside to talk. I told her what happened and left her to deal with him as she saw fit. I then called up a buddy of mine and told him to meet me at the bar so I could get drunk but not alone.
Caught my boyfriend and my best friend fucking in my living room. They didn't see me, went to my boyfriend's and my room. Locked the door, packed all up his shit. Cannot sleep. Come 7 AM in the morning he finally decides it's a great idea to come to our room. Knocks. I open the door, I see him at the door and her in the living room at the end of the hallway. I say your shit is in the hallway, leave and bring your whore with you. Yep, and that is how a 3-year relationship ended. I had caught him sexting other girls, and there were other things before and let those slide when I shouldn't have. This was the last straw, I suppose.
I once missed out on a party at my friend's house that my girlfriend was at. We had the same friends. Damn homework. Anyway, I just had the feeling things were going on since she wouldn't text back or answer her phone. Then my phone goes off and it's my buddy. Turns out it's a video of my ex in the bedroom with some guy. My buddy cracked the door and got like a full 15 seconds of it without her knowing. Her excuse was that it wasn't her. She cried when I sent her the video of herself.
Her excuse was that it wasn't her. The shaggy defense never fails.
Even caught me on camera.
No, wasn't it?
I did. We'd been together for over 2 years and had been out drinking quite heavily. Sat in a friend's bar after hours, we realize we haven't seen her or another friend in a while. We tracked them down in the disabled toilets. Her excuse was that she was drunk and doesn't actually remember doing anything. We broke up soon afterwards. I didn't actually feel that hurt. I think the relationship was over before it happened anyway, and it wasn't the nicest thing to see, but it made it easier for me to finish with her TLDR. Caught her in the toilet in a bar. I'll try to keep it short. They were sleeping as I got home in the morning after working all night. I grabbed a guitar, sat on the edge of the bed, and played a really bad country song that I made up on the spot. She was yelling at me. I'm just singing at the end of the bed really badly and loudly. He had the cover over his head, probably wondering if I was going to hit him over the head with the guitar.
She was yelling. The nerve.
She was yelling, "Get out of here and stop singing." I was very sad. A while later, I went to visit friends. They said I should have punched the guy.
The way that you did it was funnier, if it makes you feel any better.
Was going out with girlfriends after work. Got off early and ran home to change. I thought it was odd my husband was asleep so early. Crept in the bedroom with the light off to change. Sat on the bed and he started saying I need to go wait in the living room. I was not catching on at all. He had to explain he had someone in the bed with him. I left, got very drunk, then terribly sad. Went home second night because we'd been together since I was 15 and I was confused. I walk in day 2 and hear the bed springs squeaking. The first night I was calm and kind of laughed about how ridiculous it was. Day 2, not so much. That chick stayed in my bed for 3 hours while my husband and I argued, and I broke everything I could get my hands on. I sent her a Christmas card at her parents' house for several years that said, "Ho, ho, ho." Now I know she did me a favor. Any woman who can take my man can have him. This happened to my sister-in-law. My brother-in-law, wife's brother, loses his job just after they have a kid. He says it's because of layoffs. I think he just fucked up, but whatever. For the next year he looks for a job but can't find anything. Also bullshit, we live in oil country. So he decides to go back to school. Cue second kid. She's working full time and taking care of the kids because he's not good at it. She cuts maternity leave short because they're broke. In the span of 3 years they amass 80k in debt because of his schooling. But he promises they'll pay it all back afterwards. He's in a nursing program, so he's probably right. 2 months after he graduates, he gets caught cheating with a girl he's been seeing for the last 6 months. He let her find out, we're all pretty sure, so they split up just as he gets a job making 120k per year. He sticks her with half the debt from when he went to school. And, as if this needed a fucking cherry on top, he threatens to sue her for half custody of the kids because he can't afford to pay full child support. Thank you for watching. Smash that like button like it's a thick booty. And don't forget to subscribe to okpjdark if you like nice things, like new videos every day. See you tomorrow.